Dark Souls didn't save my life, and neither did Bloodborne. But Bloodborne did something for me I find endlessly valuable, but never see anyone mention. I played Bloodborne at a major crossroads in my life. The earliest log I have of me playing is April 4th, 2022. Just a few days before I realized I was trans. And you know what? It didn't really help me through that. I know a lot of other trans folks play Bloodborne and draw the parallels of shedding your skin and becoming something more to their personal experiences, or the polarizing otherness the Beast experience and how that mirrors queerness as a whole. And no shade to them, because personal experience is one of the most important parts of art at its core. But I'm not the kind of person who searches for themes in media that weren't really intended by the author. Unless they were so poorly handled that the writer ended up writing a show about something they had absolutely no conscious interest in. Like how Columbo is inherently about classism, or how anytime a queer character is portrayed poorly, it doesn't take away from their inherent queerness. Evidence of a struggle on behalf of a dead author is the only kind of speculation I really try to engage in. Like taking Gascoigne as an example of how I would enjoy his story. The idea of becoming so disillusioned with the world you live in that you start expediting the hunt in an attempt to justify your beastly tendencies to the detriment of everyone you love is really interesting. And that's the kind of thing I see and care about because it's there, it's tangible, it was intentional, and executed masterfully. But someone else might see that and create a plot in their head about Gascoigne being a closeted gay man in love with Henrik and hiding it from his family until it manifests as his weird beast affliction that makes him go crazy. And that's so fucking cool. It's just not something I see a lot of value in for myself specifically, and leave to people more inclined for it. I like dissecting what's tangible even if it was put in there unintentionally. See my Danganronpa video for more examples of poor execution because there really isn't any here. So, if Bloodborne is quite literally unable to provide me the same experience it has most of my community, what does it do for me that I find so valuable? Bloodborne helped me not just make me feel capable in the face of severe depression, which at times, yeah, it did, but by standing as a shining example of cohesive world building and narrative design that continuously inspires anything and everything I'll ever write, by giving me the tools to create artificial life.
That waits, it calls to me, crying destiny's demise. The very fate of all mankind is in this mind. And in these times, oh my creator, claim me now. Grant to me this nightmare's and if no man shall mourn for me, I'll trust in you. Amen.
If I had to come to one conclusion after playing Bloodborne, it would probably be that the pursuit of knowledge is more virtuous than the lust for power, and that the only way to achieve change for the better is pursuit of knowledge exclusively for the sake of knowing. You come to Yharnam exclusively to learn what pale blood is and cure your illness. You become a hunter to further your knowledge of Yharnam. You interact with the hunter's dream to learn from Gehrman and increase your capability so you can further your search. You fight only in service of reaching areas you've yet to scour. You gather insight for the sake of gathering it. You kill Rom to release unseen knowledge of the pale blood sky back to the world. You consume umbilical cords to allow yourself more insight. You're doing all this just for the sake of acquiring the knowledge and bettering yourself for it. There's a very distinct difference in pursuing something to become more powerful by forcing evolution's hand or whatever, and pursuing something just to get by and better yourself in a healthy way. In a world where everyone else is doing it, to be blessed with untold power that just happens to be a result of accumulating insight, or where people actively shy away from learning and dabble in history's past blunders by partaking in the old blood, you're the only one doing it right. with humility instead of hubris. You don't drag anyone down with you in your steep descent into the unknown, you just descend. On top of this, you're the only one in the story to ever make the climb back up. Generally, you can place every living thing in Bloodborne on a sliding scale of Beast, Human, and Great One. All of these different points of the spectrum are all achieved through horrific acts of genocide and lust to achieve some analogous power a few shitheads decided was theirs to take. And that's what I feel is important to mention here. The cohesion of Bloodborne's theming, as it specifically relates to power and knowledge. Obviously, there are other blatant themes like determination in the face of struggle and motherhood/femininity, but those have already been talked about at length and I have nothing to add. On top of that, all of those themes act as pillars supporting this larger conflict by being so cohesive. So it pays more, in my opinion, to talk about what it amounted to rather than what it clearly is. And that particular conflict is one I don't see many people mention, but is undeniably important to talk about for reasons I've already made clear. Seeing how the members of Byrgenwerth went as far as to massacre a poor mutated woman and her unborn child in an attempt to claim her power for themselves? Learning that the Healing Church poisoned the entirety of Old Yharnam in an attempt to forcefully evolve the entire population. Watching Vilebloods descend on the world and become more than a beast, but less than human. Achieving exactly what they set out to do and getting immediately punished for it on the Executioner's and Logarius' behalf. Being hunted by Gascoigne and helping Eileen deliver that same injustice to someone insanely close to him. All because they reached a little too far beyond their means in pursuit of the strength to contain what their superior's greed had wrought, entering the hunter's nightmare and carving your way through the result of what happens when you actively attempt to live beyond your station, and becoming something you aren't for the sake of achieving what the species is hypothetically capable of. Laying to rest all those who were cursed by Kos and her orphan son and finally adding them to the pile. Finding yourself at the foot of Gehrman and freeing him, a man who didn't have the same thirst for truth as you, but followed the same path and paid the price for everyone before him. Learning the truth of what you set out to find, and letting the forces that be do with you what they will. And finally, being rewarded for your lack of folly, as is the doll, the first mother of a great one in this horrendously gorgeous world. They'll become the shining example of who gets to hold their child and raise them to a point they can enjoy their life of endless potential. And her newborn child that will begin a wave of higher thought free of the hunt, all because they asked the right questions and didn't take more than they deserved. This is what changed my life. Seeing every single aspect of its writing fold in on the other and creating a beautifully gruesome origami amygdala. Watching the world expand and learning everything it has to offer me and reminding me that I can create one too. One that's equally cohesive and intricate as Yharnam. A place that feels lived in, and more importantly, the people who turn that feeling into fact. Thanks to Bloodborne, world building has become one of my favorite things to do when writing a story. And as a result, I've been playing a lot more tabletop RPGs, because that's what gives me the most freedom to create a sprawling, unknown expanse for people I love to experience. It's a feeling that fundamentally changed me for the better, and I chase at every turn. The idea that in an afternoon I can bust out a historic chronology of an island suspended above an apocalyptic hell in an attempt to escape the mistakes they made by fishing. A world where a mutated house spider towers over an entire country and tends to the citizens dwelling inside a sealed jade stone geode floating through the cosmos. That I can create a gang of bandits that use the souls of dead fish to ravage the drained basin of their world's ocean that they now call their home. And it just exists. I don't know how to describe to you how liberating that is, but I can tell you I never would have discovered it, or it would have taken way, way longer without Yharnam. I don't ever want to discount someone's amazingly personal experience with this beautiful game, especially one so easily shared across any given community who's interacted with it, but I don't want to discount mine either. Dark Souls didn't do much of anything for me. I enjoyed it, never got close to finishing it, and put it down more times than I care to remember. Bloodborne may have not saved my life, but it gave me a far deeper understanding of how to create it. Thank you for watching, And I hope what I've learned might bring you a similar understanding that we all desperately crave. I hope that one day I make something that gives you a reason to retire the hunt. Farewell, good hunter. Whether you find your worth in the waking world or the dreams we create to help us escape it, all I ask is that you find it, wherever it may hide.